in whatever capacity they can. But I know for the one, the athletes will be there at a professional level to do it to the best of their abilities. So, yeah.
Thanks, Alia. And I think you have a good point in terms of sort of the scale of everything, because the Olympics on this is such on a bigger scale than ISL. Creating such a big bubble would be intense. There were certain rumors going around that one route the Olympics might take in order for them to happen is mandatory vaccination for everyone who will be participating. If this happens, and I have no idea if it will or not, but let's say it does happen, do you guys see yourself taking the vaccine, or would you be cautious to do so and maybe consider not going to the Olympics if such a thing occurs? Yeah, you want to start?
I think it wouldn't even get to the point of going to the Olympics. I don't think a federation will allow the athlete who is not vaccinated to be a part of their team, because you're now putting everybody else on the team in jeopardy. So it would really be the athletes and the federation, like what the country or the IOC of that country is willing to do. Mm-hmm. I think if, for one, Jamaica requires it, then that's where it starts or stops. But I know a lot of the other countries are going to have problems and issues with just availability and pricing and being able to afford the vaccinations. So I'm not sure if the IOC is going to step in, or the World Health Organization, or whoever, to make sure that everybody at the Olympics is vaccinated. But it would be a good stepping stone just to know at least everybody in the village is.
So in other words, if such thing happens, you would take the vaccine and you'd go to the Olympics, right?
I will talk to my federation and see what's going on.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Annie, what about you?
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, that's fine with me. I'm open to taking it anyway. If you think about it this way, I understand that this is the quickest we've ever had a vaccine come out, but with how advanced technology is since our previous pandemic, the whole world has stopped for the last 10 months to work on one thing. You know what I mean? So I can't help but I can't afford to take that chance and to not take the vaccine and risk my opportunity to go to the Olympics. The only thing that I might see an issue with is a country like myself, the United States, and I know we're not the only country in this position. I believe Australia has done this as well too. We have our Olympic trials like 4 weeks before the Olympics. Yeah. So that might not be enough time to get our whole Olympic team vaccinated, because you got to take one vaccine and then 3 weeks later you got to take another. And the vaccine doesn't take effect until like 15 days after the second dose, I believe. So I don't know what my organization's going to do. They might we have national team members where it's the top 6 in every event. They might, give permission for national team members to get the vaccine before our Olympic trials, because those are the people who are, have the highest chance of making the team. There's always someone that comes out of nowhere in America and makes the team, but those are the people who have the best chance of making the team. So maybe they'll take that route. I don't know. But yeah, that's the one issue that my personal organization might have an issue with.
Thanks, Annie. And that's an excellent point. Thinking about it, the US either has to do maybe reschedule the trials potentially, or the IOC that's not an option anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
Because US is the biggest team out there in the Olympics, let's be honest. And if they get screwed up by such a decision, that was a bad decision by the IOC then. But we'll see.
I think that'll be up to our personal committee to figure out.
Yeah. Vini, what do you think about all that? Would you take the vaccine if it was the cost of going to the Olympic Games?
Oh, it's ready right now. I'll take right now. I'll get in line. I believe a lot in oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I believe a lot in the science, and I think when you got the whole world working on this, and sometimes people, the vaccines just came out too fast. But I think from the investment that we had, from the whole, like all the countries putting their money on this, and so many available cases to test the vaccines. So I know that science is in rush, science is based in evidence. So if the science say that it's true, I'll believe them. I believe in evidence. I believe in data. And I'll be right. I'm ready right now for the vaccine, if that's what it takes.
You know,
Very
you guys are huge influencers because if everyone who goes to the Olympic Games takes the vaccine, all the kids are going to take the vaccine, all the young generation, they're not going to see a problem with it anymore.
Yeah.
So you guys are huge influencers.
Yeah, and like for me personally, this might just be my personal opinion, but in America, in order to go to, grade school or high school or university, you must take certain vaccines. Some universities require you to take some vaccines before you go to university. So now to add another one, I don't understand, what the
Why not?
controversy might be. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
No one's had an issue with taking those mandatory vaccines in order to go to large universities where there's 40,000 students, so what's the issue with this one?
I think an
That's my
issue,
opinion.
I think a claim could be made regarding the discrimination regarding people who are vaccinated and who are not
Mhm.
vaccinated. People who are not vaccinated just end up getting a lot less rights, and you really don't have a choice whether to be vaccinated or not. And I see a certain issue there, but at the same time, challenging times require challenging decisions, right?
Right.
And
Right.
maybe it is the right to go.
Annie, that's a great point. The one you mentioned before, because actually I'm going to leave to college in 1 week, and I was missing one vaccine, so I needed to take that. But actually, talking about the Olympics, guys, I mean, all of you three are very recognized athletes, have a lot of international experience. I mean, Pan American Games, World University Games, NC28, the three of you. I mean, you've pretty much done everything. And I want to know, how was the training that you did during this whole pandemic, especially in Budapest, that do you think is gonna help you in order to train for the Olympics? I mean, the amount of races that you did in that short period of time, did you think that they are going to be relevant heading into next year, especially considering that maybe there's not going to be a lot of competitions in these next 6 months, maybe?
Yeah, I think that was really, really important. We got an opportunity that not many people got, So I do think those 6 weeks of racing helped me so much. It was just, even with NCAAs, even being used to race more often because of the college team, I still never had experienced that level of competition in such a short period of time, that often. We race like every weekend for 6 weeks, and with training in between, and it was awesome just to get to know our body better, just to understand, just to plan race strategy in different ways. Since you have multiple races, you could do multiple events as well. So I think that's going to help us so much leading to Olympics.
Great, great. And Vinny, considering your experience at the Indiana University and the NC2A, how much of a difference did you see between your teammates in the London Roar and the ones that you had in Indiana when you were swimming in college?
I think the ISL is kind of the next step, right? It is the next level of swimming. In college, we got different swimmers, different levels of swimming, and of course the team atmosphere was pretty similar. Like everyone trying to swim for the team instead of for themselves, which is something that I enjoy the most. I really, really like it. And the ISL is just, I'm not racing with the best in the country, I'm racing with the best in the world, and that makes a huge difference for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And Annie, also talking about Indiana, you were teammates with Vini. You were also swimming at the University of Auburn. So how did you feel that transition from college into developing a professional swimmer last year when you were swimming with the LA Current? And also another question for you will be, what difference did you see in the ISL environment from last season comparing to this new season?
Yeah, well, I think I've been out of the NC2A now for 4 or 5 years. So my first couple years of professional swimming, honestly, for a couple years, I felt like I was in no man's land a little bit. Obviously you kind of go back to that mentality of swimming for yourself. And that's a really hard emotional place to get to after like being all for the team for so long and working your hardest for other people. as well as yourself, but you want to do your best for your teammates. So, having kind of that in between for a couple of years of not having ISL and, before I really started taking the next leap on the international stage, I kind of really felt like, what is my purpose here in the sport? Then when I started to, make international teams with USA Swimming a little bit more, and then jumped into ISL last season, it definitely felt like I found a little bit more purpose in the sport. And it's just a lot more exciting. It's so much more fun when there's more on the line, just like you trying to beat the clock. You know what I mean? So last season was really fun. I had an amazing time with my previous team. But it definitely was, and I'm sure it was this way with all teams, because you only had at most a week at a time with your team. There wasn't really an opportunity to, see how each other ticks, like not just at a meet setting, but in like more of a casual setting in practice and eating dinner together and team meetings and stuff like that. Like people were just kind of in and out within 4 days last season. So I had a great time this season. Not just from the team aspect, but from the personal aspect, getting the chance to train with other people for 6 weeks. It was such a nice change of scenery after, having such a long time of being here in Indiana when, I love it here, but I was also, hopefully going to be going to the Olympics in August, and sitting here in August when, we were all supposed to be in Tokyo was pretty disappointing. So, it was really nice to just like have a change of scenery, and, everyone just seemed so positive because everyone was just so grateful to be there.
Yeah, and actually, you mentioned, not only beating the clock, but the environment with your teammates. I definitely think that it helped you because, if we see your times when you were world champion in 2018 with that 218 in the two breast, nowadays you're swimming much faster than that. And I really think that this format of ISL is helping you to improve your times. But Alia, I wanted to ask you a question for you. We already talked about the NC2A careers from Vini and Annie, how they progress into a professional swimmer. You also swam a few years ago with Texas A&M with the NC2A career. You have been to a lot of Olympic Games. I think I was like 2 years old when you went to your first Olympic Games. And I wanted to ask you this. Considering all your amazing experience, all your achievements, how did you feel when you first went into the ISL? How did you realize that this competition was going to be the future maybe of swimming? Did you consider it that it was going to be so great as it is right now and is influencing a lot of young swimmers?
So when I first turned pro, the main difference was you get to choose your meets and you get to go internationally, and you get to basically choose your whole year of international swimming. But the one thing that was lacking was the financial support. So going to World Cups and trying to get that financial gain to feel like a pro, to feel like you're actually self-sustained, that's really what helped push me into that whole pro athlete mentality. So when ISL came along, it was more of you're getting paid to be here. You don't have to pay your way and then swim all these events just to try and make $1. You're basically seeing the value, other people seeing the value of your swimming and your career and asking you to join a team. And it changes what you are as an athlete. It changes that professional feeling to be you're worth something in a sense. So as ISL started, it was more of this is something new that people after college can look forward to. Because as soon as you open that gate, it's just like a madhouse. Like what Annie was saying, it's just the last man's world. Like you don't know what to do. And sometimes you can't stay at school. So you have to go find a club. You have to find your way in. And when people go off to go to work and find jobs, you have to go and find a swimming pool and find what you need to do. And sometimes there's not that much knowledge out there or help out there for the athletes to do that. So I think ISL is a good step. There are a lot of swimmers there who are just out of college, who are getting that transition. So I think that's really good to help them with that process. And hopefully we have more staying in the cause of that. Also open it up to professional swimmers as well. The whole world is investing into a more matured, experienced level of athletes. But Yeah, ISL definitely is something new and it's exciting. And I hear a lot of athletes, younger ones, getting exciting and getting behind the teams. So as the years progress and you follow your favorite teams, I think you'll really start to feel that the feeling that Americans get for that football, like right behind it, like, oh, it's time. I don't know how long it'll take, but I feel that that's something that we can see in the future.
Yeah.
You start to relate to your team, right? As a fan, also 100%. Thank you, Alia. And guys, it is time for our first round of questions from the fans. And the first question is dedicated to all of you. How do you stay positive during this pandemic, and how do you find motivation to keep swimming, especially knowing that swimming is such in a unstable place? Vinny, do you want to start?
Yeah. So my first thing is that it is very hard to stay positive. It's a struggle that we all been there, and it is okay. It is okay to be down sometimes. We all passed through that during quarantine. I was like out of the pool for about 2-3 months, and it's time really for you to reinvent yourself. You gotta find ways to keep in shape, to exercise, and but for me the most important thing was to take this time that I never took before out of swimming, to really find like the reason why I started swimming. Find your motivations, and find the reasons why you do swimming, why you miss it so much. Because I think when we're in a season, when we're training really hard, sometimes that goes away, that slips by a little bit. So it is important to have that solid in your mind, and just keep thinking about what you can control. Thinking about ways to get better even out of the pool. And another thing is to check like our performance in ISL, for example, is a good example of it. That maybe even though we're out of the water for so long, everyone still got to perform. The rest might not be a really bad thing. So we gotta start taking advantage of the rest when we get it, even though it's a forced rest, but it is for sure going to help us, and it can help us moving forward in your season.
Thank you, Vinny. Annie, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, to start off, just to, kind of bounce off of what Vinny said, like it is really hard to stay positive during this time. Like we don't have to sugarcoat it. It's very hard, even for us elite athletes, where we have, something of such a high level, hopefully, to look forward to, such as the ISL or the Olympics. We train with college kids every day, and Alia trains with club kids every day, where they don't really know when their next meet's going to be. So, I can't imagine like being in the shoes of people like that, where they're like, should I just stop swimming? Like what does the future hold for this sport? So it's really hard, but, in my experience of taking a lot of time out of the pool for a year after the Rio Olympics and after the Olympic trials in the US in 2016, that was kind of a really good experience for me to test me for what we're going through right now. Because when we were in kind of this no man's land throughout the pandemic, and didn't really have a place to train, or didn't really know what the future held for us in swimming, it really forced me to go back to what I learned from when I got back in the pool again after a year out of it, and was just to like Vinny said, focus on the really little things that you can control. When I was getting back in shape, like I was swimming so slow, like so slow, but I knew I could control. Okay, I can take 4 kicks off of every single wall. Like I know I can do that. So for like a week, I just focused on that. Like I didn't care how slow I was swimming. I only focused on that. And then I only focused on like a certain part of my pull. Like even if I was swimming slow, if I was doing that perfectly, I didn't care what else was going on. So, it's important to know, like, while people are getting back into things right now, or, they're getting locked down again, or what have you, it's important to know, like, okay, I might still be like 50 steps behind where I was this time last year, but I'm 2 steps ahead of where I was last week. So it's really important to kind of keep that mindset, I think.
No, 100%. And I think your advice from Vinny, you and Annie regarding focusing on the small things, it's very valuable. And someone like Coach David Durden would repeat this continuously. Whenever you feel anxious, whenever you feel like something's slipping out of your hands, just focus on the things you can control, and then magically things starts falling into place. And it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Alia, what's your
It is
take on
true.
that?
No, I mean that's the main thing that I tell kids. They're looking at making the team a year from now. I'm like, okay, but at the same time, you're a year out. Focus on something within this week, within this month, within this quarter. And that's what you can work on. That's really what we can visualize and hold on to mentally. Each and every day, why you get up, it's for this week, not 4 or 5 months down the road. But I'm a huge advocate of having fun. And if you're
Mm.
going in the water and you're hating it, or if you're waking up and you don't know what you're going to do, find a whether it's the teammates, whether it's changing up the practices. The smallest thing counts. And yeah, I think that especially now when some people are out of the pool, you really have to work on the things that were a setback before, whether it's flexibility or core work or whatever it may be. So when you do get back in the water, you're one step ahead in that aspect. Like let's say your abs are always tight, you never hold your breath, you always get so this is a good time to do that rehab stuff, to do the little stuff to make sure when you're back in the water, you're giving it all for the water and you won't be back out again for an injury or mental weakness or anything like that. So definitely what Vinny said, soak up this time if you're out, because when you get back in, you want to be 100% in. And and as Annie said, that's a bit sure that you're working on the little stuff. It really is. If you come out to the practice and you had a horrible practice, then find one thing that you did well and hold on to that and make sure every single day you find at least one thing that you did well. And yeah, it's breaking down your practices, not just jumping in and swimming and then coming out. Finding something worthwhile in that practice and holding on to it, and then looking forward to finding something worthwhile in the next practice. Yeah.
Thank you, Alia. And I think that's a great point regarding having fun during swimming. I feel like it's overlooked in the world of swimming a lot. People tend to take swimming like a work, like working in a mine almost, a mandatory thing that you have to struggle your way through. And I don't think it should be this way. I think you have a great point. But with that being said, let's go through a round of personal questions from the fans. And first question goes to you, Alia. What do you do before a race to get ready mentally?
Before a race, I like to do visualizations. So all the time during practice, you visualize how it's going to be, what's going to happen. But for me, before a race, I like to visualize it, whether it's a fast turn, the best dive, really just working that last into the wall, focusing on the little things that I usually forget during the race. I want to say, like finishing your kick, making sure you're actually lunging towards the wall. So I try to visualize those stuff. So when I go into the race and it just becomes involuntary, subconsciously you'll still remember those little ticks.
Okay, thank you. Alia, when you visualize your race, do you visualize it from the first person perspective or from the third person perspective or as a spectator?
Both. I think I do in and out. If it's a race where I'm just visualizing, usually I'm like a ghost, I want to say.
Okay.
Sorry, Vinny. I'm up here. I'm just like looking down, and I can like see myself and like these other little people. But race where I'm focused on either the other competition or a specific time, I am inside the race, and I can usually see the somewhere. Obviously. But
Thank you.
I like to
Thank you,
have fun with
Alia.
it. Yeah.
I think that's very valuable for young kids because I think visualization is a huge tool in swimming, and a lot of people should put that into their toolbox for sure. But thank you.
A big thing. Sorry.
Go ahead.
When I did a lot of sim camps, there's a lot of kids who do visualizations and they actually visualize themselves coming in second and third. And if you're doing this, you have to make sure that you're your number one fan. If you're doing the visualization, you're winning the race. You're doing something at the end of it that is successful. So yeah, it might be ridiculous if you have all these people in your race, but you focus on your race and you make sure that when you do it, you're happy and you're powerful and you're encouraged at the end of it. So, yeah.
Thank you, Alia. It's kind of sad. I didn't know people would visualize themselves getting third.
Yeah.
But thank you, Alia. Annie, a question to you. And I believe this is a very interesting one. We spoke already quite a bit about the Olympic Games. And one of our fans wants to know, Annie, what is actually your motivation in winning an Olympic medal?
Wow, good question. I don't really, obviously that's a great goal, and I believe that it's more than tangible for me. But I don't really focus on the end goal being win an Olympic medal or break the world record. Like because I could break the world record in the 200 breast, but the girl next to me could break it also and go faster than me. Am I supposed to control that? Like, no, I can't control what anyone else is doing. I can only control what I'm doing. So, again, same thing. Like, I could break the world record, but 3 other girls could break the world record and I get 4th. Does that mean I failed because I didn't win a medal and I wasn't the one who ended up breaking the world record? Like, I don't think so. So, and I've been in positions before where I've set goals like that, like make the national team or, make this team or whatever. And I've achieved my goal or done more than achieve my goal, but have sold myself short a little bit because, I didn't exactly get to like the highest point. And, who knows, maybe if I hadn't like set that limit for myself, I could have achieved more than that. So, I have motivation just to be able to leave the sport and leave, a certain race, knowing that prior to that in my preparation, that I did everything I could to execute that race to the best of my ability. That is my end goal, is to be able to get out and know that I executed that race as best as I could. And I got out and I could see the results in all of that preparation coming to place.
Thank you, Annie. And I feel like that's a very strong response, and a response you would only hear from a professional. And a lot of people don't understand it, but there's a weird sense of pleasure and satisfaction when you know you have done absolutely everything in your power to execute a certain task.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
testament to, 100%. But yeah,
Thanks.
Thank you, Annie. And Vini, a question to you. Straight away, this was a very popular question for you. And I don't know why. I feel like I don't know something about you, but here it goes. Vini, is it hard to have a serious relationship and prepare for the Olympic Games? And if it is, could you please explain why?
Yes, please
And
elaborate.
it makes it easy. And it makes it easy. No, it's a good question, because I think sometimes we invest so much energy and time into our swimming, and other people do too into our relationship, that it can be challenging have both at the same time, But I'm very lucky that I have Annie with me, and she's a partner that comprehends me, understands me. We both understand each other limits, because I think that's the most important thing, And also, always put your partner in priority in the relationship. Always think about them, try to wear their shoes, because that makes it easy for everyone. And it is, but it's not easy. Many days Annie has a plan in mind, or going out watching a movie, and I'm just like way too tired to do that. But I think that the major thing is, back again, understanding each other and understanding that we both have our goals that are so strong for us, and we've been working our whole lives for it, and that gotta be one of our top focus right now. We understand that the time right now is to prepare for the Olympics, and is to do whatever, as we said before, we want to have that feeling that we've done and we tried everything we could to be able to fulfill that dream. So, and also, other thing for me, it's having someone by your side that supports you, that loves you, that show your affection. That's so helpful, and that's so important, especially for me. Just doing the process by yourself it is way harder. So if it is a relationship, it is a friend, a family, or your teammates, that helps a lot getting by the process, because it can get pretty tough sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Vinny. And it seems that's my personal observation. That might totally not be true, but it seems like professional athletes a lot of the times end up having as their significant other another professional athlete, typically from their same sport. Mm-hmm. And a big question for all of you guys, but I guess Vinny started answering it, so more towards Vinny. Do you feel like this is because of the mere exposure factor that you just see your teammate athletes all the time and you end up bonding sooner or later? Or is it more a sense of your significant other understanding you better because they do something similar to what you do and being able to support you a little better? What would you say?
Definitely the latter. Definitely the second one. I think being able to understand, and since, for example, your partner goes through the same process that you, knows the struggles, knows the difficulties, it is way easier to find like a middle ground there to make everyone happy, you know? Sometimes I know relationships about giving up a little bit of your space, about your energy towards someone, and having that understanding, it is completely essential to have a successful relationship.
Yeah. And I feel like, well, first of all, my best friend set us up. So we did not like find each other on our own. Like we knew who each other were, but my best friend set us up. So it wasn't just like commonalities that set us up together. But I will say that he drives, in this personal situation, like he drives me to be better in the areas that I lack in. And I would hope like he feels the same way about me as far as like being a better, athlete and being a better person. For the two of us, we're very different personalities, which sometimes like doesn't work and sometimes it complements really well. And I think for us, it's the latter. For me, like from a physical aspect, like he drives me to have a better, diet, eating habits. Like he eats so healthy. And so when I'm with him, he drives me to do the same thing. And like with him, like I take really good care of my body outside of the sport, like recovering and stuff like that. So I hope like I drive him to, do that as well. And it's so much easier to do it together than just like motivating yourself to do it.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks, Vinny. Yeah. It's quite heartwarming to see you guys talk about each other like that. But
I gained some points.
Guys, with this being said, let's kind of shift back to Budapest 2020. London Roar was successful 2 seasons in a row and making it to the final. How would you access your performance in ISL 2020 as a team? Are you happy with how it went? Are you happy with making the final, or were you shooting for the W? Alia, do you want to start?
I believe we did we were quite successful, I believe. Coming into it, a lot of us were wondering with the lockdowns who was swimming, but that was everybody. That was everybody at ISL. The shape that an athlete is in, it was up to them and their mentality and how they're going to execute the first race, and then 6 weeks later somehow keep it up again. But for us, and then having the Aussies come out was a huge setback, I think, mentally. But with all the other swimmers that came up from the UK, getting to know them, getting to understand what they're going through, and just seeing them, it really helped us to be a little bit stronger. I think for me, going on to the London Roar and knowing what a big team they were, I automatically expected to be like the second wing. And what I mean by that is that you have backstrokers galore, you have freestylers, you have nobody's gonna want anything from the breaststroker. Like just stay to her lane and then just do her thing. And as this came about, it was more pressure on the breaststrokers. So I was like, oh, this is a big switch. I didn't mentally prepare for this. It was really great to know the other athletes and to see like, okay, I'm like, I know who they are. They're put in the same bind as I am. They just didn't swim for a couple months and so told that they're going to go on the London Roar. And you could see their excitement, but also they actually wanted to do better and they wanted to do good for the team. And it pushed me to be a little bit better for them as well, to help London Roar reach as far as we can reach, given with how we started and everything. But I think we did fantastic. Everybody got better as it went along. Our team spirit was there throughout the entire 6 weeks. And yeah, a couple of races could have been better personally, but for the most part, consistency is key. So I'm good.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Alia. Vinny, what about for you? Were you satisfied with the team performance this year?
I was. I think our team did the best that we could do. Like We had a good environment, like Alia said. The coaches were on point, and the coaches were bringing a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience and bringing a lot of positive talk into the team. Of course, having the Aussies not coming in the last minute, that was definitely a hard part for us. We were prepared. We look at our team. We're like, man, we are about to win this. We're gonna win. We for sure had that in our minds, you know. And after losing all the Aussies, many of the athletes started doubting themselves a little bit because we knew our team lost a little of their power, because we know how important the Aussies are, not just in the pool, but out of the pool, bringing the energy and their charisma to the team. So, but I was very happy with everyone, the team. Everyone did the best they could do. Everyone performed. Everyone got better as it went through, and we had a good time. So that's also very important.
Thanks, Vinny. And I think it's the testament to the London Roar's resilience, and that so many Aussies couldn't come, but still you guys were on point. And sometimes it seems like a team with a lack of very strong swimmers that weren't able to come would sort of give up a little bit, especially in the final. It was like, just looking at the roster, Callie Condors ended up in a little bit of a better spot than you guys were, but you guys never gave up. All of you had your best performances in the final in at least one event. That is a huge testament to you guys. But with that being said, Annie, how was it for you? Could you
thought it was
provide
great.
your input?
Yeah, I thought it was great. You know, obviously, like they said, you know, every team had their setback of, you know, how are our athletes going to perform post quarantine, and then we were hit a little bit harder with so many, like, you know, like a third of our team pulling out at the last second. So we knew that we were going to be spread pretty thin, and that you know, the cards would possibly be stacked against us once that happened. And you know, Vini can speak to that the most because he was on the team in season 1, but I know that they brought more than just fast times to the team. They brought an amazing amount of camaraderie and charisma to the team. So, you know, but I think every week that we went on, people bought in more and more and more to the team. Now, I was bought in from day one, and I think a lot of people were, but I think people got really emotionally invested in the team the more and more the weeks went on. And I think that that's in part to just the leadership that we had on the team. You know, with Mel Marshall, she knows how to give a pep talk. Like she's incredible. And I had only known her for 6 weeks, but by like week 3, I'm like, I'm ready to run through a wall for this woman. Like, I love her. So, she knows, she's so intentional with what she says to the team as a whole, and exactly what we needed to hear in order to bring the best performances out of us, both as a team and individual people. And I think that that's such a strong talent to have in a leader in a team. You know, for my performances personally, I genuinely got better literally as each week went on, and was able to save my best performances for the ISL final. So I was really pleasantly surprised with how I did at ISL, quite honestly, because before I went, I was having some injury issues, and, you know, we hadn't swam for 7 months. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to be as good as I was last year. But I swam way faster than I did last year. So I think it's just a testament to show, like, you know, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, like mentally and partially physically, like you're still the same athlete. It's just a matter of whether or not you can get up and race when it matters, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, I absolutely agree with you that a lot of athletes look like they bonded with Mel really well. But something about Mel, especially as a spectator watching the match play along, Mel seems like she's ready to run through a wall for any of you guys whenever you race. The intensity with which she spectates the races is insane. But yeah, thank you. And go ahead, Bruno.
Yeah, I wanted to just quickly mention, I mean, you already pointed at your performances, but I wanted to know, how excited were you when you swam all those breaststroke skins races, especially considering that last season you weren't able to swim it? Alia and Annie, I don't know who wants to start.
Alia can go. She was the star of that.
Uh, so I was very excited for the opportunity to do a breaststroke skins after seeing it last year and I wanted a shot at it. So the first one I was like, yeah, I'm excited. And then the second one came around, I was like, oh, I can get better. And I did. So I was really excited. And then the third one came, I was like, okay, somebody else can have a shot. Like, other people are excited too. And then the fourth.
That's very generous of you.
So I was very excited, and I'm privileged to be able to do that for the team, especially because we have a strong breaststroke group. So to go out there and do it, I'm very excited, and I'll jump back in again if asked. But at the same time, I wasn't mentally prepared for all those rounds. Not back to back to back to back for that long. I didn't think it was possible to do it that many times. So yeah, it's fun.
That was a very uncomfortable fun.
Uncomfortable fun.
Okay.
Maybe fun with pain, right?
Oh, best type of fun, isn't it?
That's swimming for you, right? Annie, how was it for you? Fun and painful?
Yes, I thought it was great. I didn't feel as much pressure in the skins because, I trend towards the 100 and 200 and I come down towards the 50 when needed. The 50 is certainly far and away of the three is my least best event. So I was just really excited to even have the opportunity. Honestly, I was really excited to be able to get through the second round, 3 times or so. So yeah, I thought it was a great experience. And the part that was the most exciting is, when you're behind the blocks and just knowing what it feels like to be in the stands as well during skins, how invested your team is in you in that moment for you to swim well. So knowing what that already felt like and then going out there and doing it is just an indescribable feeling. Even without, people in the stands, obviously, because of the pandemic, I couldn't even hear myself think. It was so loud, and it was so exciting. And just knowing I was doing it for my team and my team was swimming every stroke with me, it felt like, was just, like I said, just an indescribable feeling. It was hard though.
Thank you, Annie. And yeah, the atmosphere in the pool was just insane. We had Aqua Centurions break the team box and their last day of competition. That's how hard they were cheering. But with this being said, let's move to the next round of fan questions. And Vini, the first question is to you. Do you do any yoga or meditate?
I do actually. I really, really enjoy doing yoga, especially during season. It helps me not just calm down a little bit and control my thoughts a little better, but also with my body, how my body feels. I like how especially the breathing exercises help so much in the water. I do feel I can hold my breath longer and I feel more leaning in the water. I feel more connected. It really, really helps with your mobility. And it's a good thing if you're not a swimmer and you haven't done yoga. It's a good thing to try it out because it does help.
Yoga is also great for injury prevention, right? It's
right.
A great tool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vini. Mm-hmm. And my next question. So we had very similar questions sent to Annie and Alia, and the question is, what is the most important thing for breaststroke, for fast breaststroke? But I would like to sort of divide that question into two. And Annie, for you, I would like to ask the question of what is the most important aspect in, let's say, long distance breaststroke on the 200 side. And Alia, for you, I would like to ask a question, what is the most important in sprint breaststroke? Annie, do you want to start?
Yeah, well, I could learn a thing or two from Alia on the mechanics on starts and pullouts, because quite frankly, she's the best in the world at those. But, for me personally, I think the thing that makes me successful in the 200 is being able to hold my line at the end of the stroke, really being able to feel your body in that nice tight line every time you finish your stroke, having a fast recovery, and then making sure that you ride that line as best as possible after the kick, because the kick is the fastest part of the stroke. So, once you get into that line, just making sure you're nice and tight and really being able to ride out every stroke, because the 200 breast is a deceivingly long race. So, I think that's the most important part for me, to conserve energy and kind of find the balance between, patience and power, making sure that you can still finish the race. So you're being patient on the front end, but still making sure that you're getting the most out of every stroke.
Thank you, Annie. Alia, what would you say for fast breaststroke, for sprint breaststroke?
So for fast breaststroke, I think it's a combination of what Annie and Vinny said. So flexibility is a great tool for that, as well as holding your line. But you just merge the two together. How well can you have your tempo, keep your stroke without breaking apart at the end? Because a lot of breaststroke, when you start to go fast, you start to spin a lot. So you don't get as much water and you don't pull as much water as you do when you go a little bit more distance per stroke. So it's how do you keep a genuinely effective stroke and let the body naturally do what it needs to do without really affecting the stroke. So for me, I practiced a lot about speed drills, so speed work, and trying to maintain a good stroke and making sure each stroke is the same. Like a 200, you can really just build into it and get it and build into the race, but it is deceiving, very much so. But as you go into the 50, you only have 16 strokes, give or take, what you're doing. And you have to know that when the dive and the pullout is done, you have to execute every stroke the same as much as possible. So you really work on one stroke and master that one stroke, and then 16 times or 12 times or however many times you have to do it. So yeah, I think that's my answer.
Thank you, Alia. And guys, I know you're very busy athletes, so I don't want to keep you here for too long. But before I let you go, we must have the blitz with the fan questions. And the way this blitz is going to go, I'm going to ask a question, and you can answer one by one. Let's have the order Annie to Alia to Vinny, if that's okay with you guys. And the answers don't have to be too complicated. Sometimes a yes or a no is sufficient. Sometimes a little more is better, but don't get too deep into it. Take it as a blitz. All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
So here we go. Just a second. All right. When did you start swimming?
5.
4.
Wow.
3.
Who was your idol when you were growing up?
Rebecca Soni.
So Rebecca Soni for Annie. Alia?
I didn't really have one.
No? Didn't have one? Vinny, what about you?
Phelps, 100%.
Oh, Michael, of course.
Not Caesar.
Well, Alia, I would say that nowadays you're an idol for many young kids. So
That's true.
Thank you.
You for sure are. What is your favorite event to swim?
200 breast, long course.
Okay. Quite an unexpected answer, but okay.
I'm starting to like the 100 more though.
Okay.
100 IM, I want to say.
100 IM.
I'll go 100 fly.
100 fly. All right. What is your favorite team logo and team uniform?
Well, I have to say ours.
But
right?
you can't tell your own. Come on, that's not fair.
Oh, you can't say your own?
But
Oh,
it
come
is.
on.
It is.
Everyone would pick their own then.
Well, ours is the best, but oh gosh. Huh.
Second. Okay.
I'm trying to think. Irons is pretty cool. Yeah. But still ours.
Is it the shiny part of it?
Yes.
Okay. And same for the logo?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Alia, what about you?
So I know yours is the best. So second will be I was on Team Iron last year, so just to see the progression of now the dragon and now it's all shiny, I was like, ooh, very appealing to the eyes. But a lot of them have creativity. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You should get Team Iron to hook you up with some of the merch.
Can't do that.
I don't know if
London
she can
all
do
the
that
way.
anymore.
I saw that trick.
Could be a Halloween costume. Just a joke, sorry. Vinny, what about you?
I love ours, but since we can pick, I gotta say the Rhino. I really like the
New
the
York
New York
Breakers?
Breakers. Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they're pretty cool, and I like the color shoe, the black and white, simple. Their merch is pretty good.
What do you think of the new sign they're trying to implement with the Rhino?
Oh, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. If
Yeah.
it sells, the team bought in, it's good. Good for them.
100%. And our last question of the Blitz is, what is your favorite non-swimming sport?
Beach volleyball.
Beach volleyball. Okay. Alia?
I do like to watch the skeleton on the winter sports. Like it just seems like it's something I want to do. I'm like it's very dangerous, but I want to see it. Like
Oh, wow. That's an interesting answer. But what about to do?
la 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 la. Probably like triple jump or long jump. A little bit safer.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of unexpected answers right now. Vinny, what about you?
Oh, gotta be soccer. I'm a big soccer fan.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite
What's your
club
favorite
in
team?
Brazil?
Oh, I have my team back home from my city that I grew up. So it's Atlético Mineiro. We're actually doing pretty good this year. We're second in the Brazilian league. So hopefully we're going to bring the title that we haven't won since 1971. It's been a while. So we're cheering hard.
When I lived in Brazil, I was a Corinthians fan. I went to many games.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Vinny, maybe you will add some fans to your team now through this podcast.
Hopefully they need some help.
Guys, with that, we're about ready to conclude our podcast. Thank you so much. But before I let you go, do you have any final words to the London Roar fans?
I guess, yeah. Go for it. Man.
It was I just want to say to the London Roar fan that, I just missed swimming in London so much this last season, because in the first season, having the experience to go there with the packed stadium, like there's like 3,000-4,000 people in the stands, everyone like cheering with us, screaming our names, like kids waiting outside for like photos, autographs. Like it was really amazing, So I can't wait to go back there. I can't wait to get over this COVID things and have people on the stands again, and just feel the energy that the London fans can give to us.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Vinny. Alia, Annie, any
So,
words to the fans?
yeah. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for going the ups and downs with us. Thank you for watching us and staying with us. I know a couple of people from the UK that actually bought the stations, and here actually that bought the stations just to see us compete. So thank you guys for doing this. I know it's January, but we're all pretty excited for August when it starts back again for season 3. So keep up with us. Look for your favorite ones that will be coming back next year, and then some new faces as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be really great, and thank you for all your support.
Thanks, Alia. And let's hope we can get some spectators on board for season 2021. That would be amazing. Naples isn't that far from London. Any words to the fans from you?
Yeah, I think they said it all. Just a thank you. Like here, just even though you guys couldn't be with us, just seeing you guys on social media all the time. I had, London Roar fans in my DMs, like after every single meet, before every meet. It was just so encouraging, even though I don't know many of them. And like Vinny said, when he came back from London last year, he said it was undoubtedly like the best meet he had ever been to, just because of how bought in people were in London for the London Roar. And I can't wait to experience that, because I know it's going to be a feeling unlike any other. He was just so elated by it. So I know that we have the best fans, and I'm so excited to experience that in person.
Thank you, Annie. And this about concludes our London Roar Athletes podcast. Guys, thank you so much for coming to the podcast. Thank you to all the fans who are watching. And it means a lot to us. And Alia, you're the first person to make it to 2 podcasts out of the athletes. We'll have a little celebration for you.
Thank you very much.
With that, our next match analysis will take place this Sunday, and our next podcast will take place on Tuesday. Please come check it out and stick with us. And with that, goodbye and have a great evening.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Guys,